Fairview that they haven't been able to process, but here they're gonna use. All right, we'll go ahead and start the Wood Village City Council meeting, July 22nd, to order. Counselor Smith, would you mind reading the land acknowledgement for us, please?
Wood Village Land Acknowledgement Statement. The Chinookan peoples known as the Clackamas and Cascades are the indigenous people of the land now inhabited by the city of Wood Village and other areas of the Columbia River. The village of Nechakli was located near today's Blue Lake Park. Ancestral life of these peoples included a seasonal round of resource gathering and stewardship from the Wapato fields and fishing areas of the Columbia River to the cedar and huckleberry gathering areas of the High Cascades. Introduced disease from early settlers dramatically reduced the number of these people. They signed the Willamette Valley Treaty of 1855 with the United States government and were forcibly removed to the Grand Ronde Indian Reservation. We thank the descendants of these tribes for being the original stewards and protectors of these lands since time immemorial. We also acknowledge the systemic policies of genocide, relocation, and assimilation that still impact many Indigenous Native American families today. We are honored by the collective work of many Native nations, leaders, and families who are demonstrating resilience, resistance, revitalization, healing, and creativity. We are honored to be guests upon these lands.
Thank you. If you all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to citizen comments on non-agenda items.
Not sure if there's any from the audience, but we do have one that was emailed in, wanted to relay. It was an individual from Riverwood, that part of the community. Just wanted to thank you as a council for the investment in the new RFB crosswalk and how they felt unsafe crossing that area for years. And we're so thankful for this investment and new piece of infrastructure to make walking a little better over there.
Awesome.
It's great.
That is a great thing. Today we are going to read our a proclamation for Community Health Worker Week, and for me this is an honor as I have a community health worker training certification. So it's tremendous work that really highlights leaders in the community for what they do, who they serve, and what they believe. So Councilor Minor, would you like reading that, please?
I'd be honored to read it. The proclamation, August 17th to the 23rd, 2025, as Community Health Workers Week. Whereas community health workers are frontline public health workers that are trusted members of the community in which they serve, and whereas community health workers have a uniquely intimate understanding of the communities they serve, and the understanding enables them to build trusted relationships, serve as liaison between the community and much needed health and social services, improve the quality and cultural competence of the service delivery, increase treatment and the capacity in underserved areas to improve community health knowledge and individual self-sufficiency through a range of activities such as outreach, informal counseling, coaching, social support, and advocacy. And whereas community health workers are recognized with a professional certification in a growing number of states in the United States. And whereas community health workers are a historic workforce that goes back hundreds of years in the United States and reflects the diversity that makes this country great. Whereas community health workers have been known by many different titles, including community health representatives, Comunitatis de Salud, aunties, peers, and outreach workers. Whereas community health workers are cross-sector workforce that connects community members to healthcare, other social services, reducing barriers to health and well-being. Whereas community health workers are a proven workforce with decades of research documenting the effectiveness in maternal and child health care, chronic disease, interventions, immunization, health, HIV, primary care, and many other disciplines and documented return on the investments for the many programs. And whereas sustainable funding and community health workers supports fair market wages and enhanced recruitment and retention of the workforce. And whereas community health workers fulfill a wide range of roles, including facilitating cultural mediation among individuals, communities, and health services, providing culturally appropriate health education, coordinating care, case management, and health system navigation, advocating for individuals and communities, building community capacity, providing direct service, implementing individual and community assessments, participating in and evaluating in research. Whereas the community health workers networks are statewide, regional, or local associations and coalition with leadership and membership composed of at least 50% community health workers and whose activities include training, workforce development, mentoring, and other initiatives to support community health worker programs. Now, therefore, the Wood Village City Council joins with the Legislative Assembly in the state of Oregon in proclaiming August 17th through the 23rd, 2025 as Community Health Workers Week. And be it further resolved that we recognize the significant contributions of community health workers to improve health outcomes in underserved communities. And be it further resolved that we encourage collaboration at the local, state, and federal levels to raise awareness of the critical role community health workers in Oregon and throughout the United States. Proclaim this the 22nd day of July 25th.
Thank you.
And that is a proclamation that is proclaimed by the mayor, Jairo Rio Campos, and he'll be signing that.
Yes. Just quickly, I would like to say that, due to our community health workers in our community these last couple years has been a tremendous bridge amongst community members and the city of Wood Village that has allowed us to not only create meaningful and impactful policy amongst council, but really embrace that partnership there. So to all the community health workers out there in the audience, we thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and proceed with public safety report.
Actually, I think there's a request to do a picture.
We'll do a quick picture, Chief.
Okay. Yeah.
We are.
Get them all situated there. I'll stand back here and try to take a picture. Or I'll go that way.
From that.
Yes.
Should have seen that.
Okay, Chief, now.
Maybe we can get our picture taken with these guys too.
Yeah.
You make it happen. Well, Mayor, councilors. First off, I learned not to speak directly in this mic. First off, this dashing gentleman next to me is Lieutenant Jake Howell, and he will be assuming duties as Chief of Police for Wood Village. So I want to bring him here and welcome him. I know he met a couple of you over at the night out on Friday, which was an amazing event. We're very thankful we could have such a good showing this year, especially with the baseball. I thought that really worked out well. So want to say a few words?
Sure. I am excited to be a part of your guys' community. It seems like a really great place. Everybody that I talk to says I'm lucky to be here from the sheriff's office. It sounds like you have a really good relationship and hope to continue that.
Welcome.
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll dive into the public safety report. Everything's kind of trending normally over this last month period. There was one stolen vehicle that was reported off of Northeast 223rd Avenue, which was recovered in Portland a couple of days later. I went through the call log. I didn't really see any calls specifically to highlight this month. You'll also note that the suspicious subject vehicle circumstance calls dropped from 23 to 23 from 35 the previous month. And reported traffic accidents also are down to 10 from 12. The same area we've been experiencing with traffic accidents around 238. One thing we have changed is we have a decoy car we're deploying around. So we deployed one on Oregon Street based on some complaints that came in of speeding through there. I actually picked it up and it was moved over to the top of 238. So hopefully that'll have an impact there. And a neighbor came out and talked to me when we were doing that and said it was very effective on Oregon Street. So we're going to try and combine that with some enhanced missions, traffic safety missions. The decoy car has been pretty successful. It serves as a visual reminder for motorists coming through the area of, obeying traffic control devices and watching your speed and whatnot. So I'm hopeful that's going to have a positive trend there. There were only 2 online reports filed during this time frame. One was for hit and run and the other was for a fraud. And one thing I did want to highlight and just let the neighborhood know that you'll note in the report there were 13 vacation home checks as we're in vacation season. So this is a service the sheriff's office provides, and it's pretty easy to fill out a vacation home request if you just go to www.mcso.us. There's a tab on the right and it says, how do I, and you scroll down vacation home request and just fill out some information and we'll be more than happy to come keep an eye on your property while you're away. So
I told my neighbor about that. They
Oh,
left
excellent.
for a full month and she didn't know anything about it, filled
Right.
out the form. And you guys were so thorough. You got out of your car and walked around the house. I didn't expect that, but thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
You're very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that I would echo that. I did use the service some
You did.
years ago, before I had grandkids that want to stay in the house when we leave. But before that, I did use that service and it was very helpful and gives you comfort when you're traveling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's great service.
Other than that, unless there's any questions, that's all I have.
Any questions by the council?
And questions, but
No.
welcome, Lieutenant.
Yeah.
We visited at the Friday nights out, so welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you.
I do have, it's more of a comment. It's not related to your report. So just, have you guys noticed any, due to kind of the situation with the new administration and things like that, have you guys noticed any increase in like hate crime or things of that nature within your jurisdictions or hearing around that with other partners or agencies?
No, not that I've seen. And that would be reflected in the public safety report as well. Those will be a priority 1 or 2 call, especially if it was coded as a bias crime.
What are kind of procedures somebody could take if they are witnessing or they are themselves involved in some situation of this nature?
As far as like if they're a victim or looking for
Yeah.
assistance? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, certainly they can reach out to us. That's what we're here for. And they're more than happy to come over to the Troutdale precinct and talk to us in person or give us a call and we'll walk them through what we can do. You know, it's, as you're aware, that is this is our community and we're committed to doing everything we can to make sure everybody feels safe. So,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
I have one question. I live on Hawthorne, and the corner of Hawthorne and Cedar. There are two vehicles that are often parked on the street with expired plates, and they sit there for a while and then they get moved and then they come back. Anything can be done about that?
Yeah, we're gonna take a look at them. Tell you what, if you could just email me the information, we'll go check them out. So.
I will.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Welcome. I think we pride ourselves at the city of Wood Village to having an awesome partnership with the sheriff's office. So you're in good hands, I guess.
And if I could just say just want to thank the sheriff's office for their work at the night out last Friday.
Yes.
I got some time with you all, but not as much time as I would have liked. There's a lot of people to talk with and engage with, but certainly appreciated the show with all the different vehicles and the activities and the engagement work. That's really great stuff. So really appreciate kind of the extra goodies you provided this year and just great connection with the community. So thank you.
We enjoyed it as well.
All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
All right. We'll go ahead and move to review of paid bills. Is there any questions on those on the agenda or in the staff report?
I have no question.
No
All right.
questions.
We'll go ahead and move to Play East Board Appointment Interview.
With Jennifer.
Jennifer, would you please come forward? Yes, please. So Jennifer has applied for our vacant seat on the Play East Board. Counselor Minor, myself, and her visited a few weeks ago, and this is more of that formal process that we have to do. I'm understanding that you've seen these questions, so we'll just go right down. If you have any questions, need clarification, please feel free to ask. Counselor Smith, would you like to start with the first one?
Just like to remind, we tend to give the candidate a minute or two just to introduce themselves and why they're interested on the board before we go into the questions.
Perfect.
My name is Jennifer Lightheart. I have lived in the Fairview Wood Village area for about 13 years. I've seen it grow. I've seen a lot of different changes. And I've ended up in a place in my life where I feel like I can give back to my community now. I'm in a better place than I was, 15 years ago when I moved here. And I think it's just time.
Awesome. Thank you. Right, Counselor Smith.
Okay, welcome, first of all. What in your background, personal or professional, draws you to want to serve the city as a member on the Play East Board?
So I come from a disadvantaged background and saw my friends and family being able to play sports and do extracurricular activities that I wasn't able to do. When I had my own kids, we still weren't very well off and sports were mostly out of the reach, except for programs like Play East. I believe that giving kids and adults an outlet for their creativity and providing opportunities to move their bodies with their peers greatly helps their quality of life. And I want to be a part of that.
Thank you.
Counselor Minor.
Jennifer, you've been involved in a number of things at your work. What's your definition of leadership and how would you show your leadership style on the board?
So my definition of leadership is caring about the team and how you get to the goal and not just about the goal itself. Leadership is learning your team and adjusting to their needs so that the goal is attainable, not just for you, but for them also. It's building trust and consistency in a place where differences are not just welcome, but encouraged. My leadership style will be shown by the way that I respond and interact when we're all in agreement, but more importantly, when we aren't.
Thank you.
What do you consider important factors in a group decision-making process?
that they are unbiased, they benefit the majority, and that they align with our goals.
Thank you.
Me? Four.
Yeah.
What do you believe are the most important issues facing the community and our recreation opportunities at this time?
So that is a loaded question because I feel that there are a lot of things, issues facing our community right now, but I'll stick to the recreation aspect of it. Currently, I believe that there's a bit of a lack in the equity in some of the aspects of how the programs are being run. To be fair, I haven't done any programs through Play East. I've only participated in the Troutdale recreation program. But if they're run similarly, there's definitely some areas for improvement. For example, there's not enough options for children aged 14 to 18. There's no options for adults, and there's not really a lot of options for those with disabilities or, mental delays, things like that. And I would like to see some of those groups of people be included in the programming.
You.
Probably the easiest one here, Jennifer, is what else would you like to tell us about how and why you would serve on the community? Serve the community, excuse me.
As I mentioned, I lived here for 13 years and I've seen the community change. East County is greatly underserved by our tax dollars. And according to Oregon Live, the Reynolds School District has about 63% of their students being in a disadvantaged class, and about 51% live at or below the poverty level. I've been in these statistics before. And one of the things that got me out was the support of the programs like Play East and other, the food banks and things like that the city has to help these kinds of people. And that's how I've gotten to where I am now. People don't want to struggle. Sometimes they just don't know how not to. And so having someone who's been in their situation and has been able to overcome some of these challenges really gives them, something to look at, a way out, somebody who's been where they've been and have been able to do other things. And I want to help somebody. If my experience throughout my life can help one person achieve a goal, then I'm really happy with it.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome.
And you did share, and if you wouldn't mind, some of the work you've been doing with your company in as far as fundraising and reaching out and supporting various charitable organizations.
Yes, so I work for Vigor Industrial. We're now Vigor Marine Group down on Swan Island. And I am on the Vigor Cares Committee. And so what we do, we get an annual budget, so we don't have to fundraise. The company gives us, an allotted amount, and several times a year we'll meet to go over what charities we'd like to donate to, what causes we would like to participate in. Do we want to fund a table at, the Ronald McDonald House charity? That was one of the dinners we've done. And I want to say there's maybe 12 to 15 of us on that committee. We don't always agree, on who should receive funding that year. But we try to spread the money out amongst the groups that are smaller. So we figure if you can afford to put a commercial on TV, you probably don't need, our $2,500, $3,000 donation. So we really look for smaller organizations that, $3,000 could go a really long way for them.
Thank you.
Awesome. Typically, we'd had more candidates. We'd do a scoring, but looking at our fabulous candidate here, are there any other questions by the council? No? Then I would entertain a motion.
I move move for Jennifer Lightheart to be appointed to the Play East Board.
And I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Welcome to the board. The term length is until December 31st, 2027. Greg, For the recreation director, we'll be in contact and share more information
Okay.
of next.
Usually it's me, but we don't run Play East. So the recreation director will be in
Yeah.
touch with you for orientation, upcoming meetings. Certainly as a Wood Village rep, we can chit chat before the next board meeting and connect on certain things. But very much thank you for your willingness to serve the community.
No problem. Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity.
And
Thank you so
welcome,
much.
Jennifer.
Yes.
We're looking forward to having you as part of the board.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it as well.
All right, we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and move on to consent calendar. Any questions?
I just think Night Out went really, really well.
Yeah, that's certainly, I thought the Friday night out went well. I liked the way it was organized. We were more on grass, making it not as hot at times. I did, and I want to make this statement here. I did want to recognize that part of our population was a little bit lower. And just an observation, I have no data that to use to carry this too far, but in observations and in my conversations with some of you and with some of our public safety individuals, we were missing a lot of our Hispanic community. And I can, I recognize why that would be, and it was sad to see that our Hispanic community was not represented, and I would surmise, in many cases, not feeling comfortable to come to a public setting like that, based on what we're seeing across the country. And I know this is happening throughout the state of Oregon, but I also know it's happening throughout this country. The mayor of Los Angeles commented and had some comments here about this impact that we're having with the policy, immigration policy, so-called, that entire communities, Hispanic communities in Los Angeles, people are out of jobs. People are afraid to go into those communities, and essentially, people with 20 years in this country losing an opportunity to work, to live here and be safe. So I just needed to be on record on that because we're seeing it here. And it was sad. And so I hope that we can do what we can do as a city to make sure that we recognize our Hispanic community and do everything we can to support them.
I appreciate you bringing that up because it's a true thing a lot of our community members are facing. And so it's important that we recognize it and we lend our support out to our community members where we can. And I do believe that the city of Wood Village will continue to do everything possible to support in every way that we can as an agency, for sure, individually. So I appreciate you putting that on record, Councilor Minor.
But it was fun. Seen a lot of equipment down there too.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Public
that's the part that's sad. It was a really great event. And I think because of things outside of our control or how we built relationships, people didn't feel comfortable attending and, missing out on some of those great experiences. And hopefully we can find a way to change that, shift that, or still at least otherwise connect with all of our community members. Yeah, the night out really hit some good strides. The equipment rodeo, the vendor area. Little hiccup on the hot dog sausages. We were supposed to get sausages, got hot dogs, but they were good hot dogs. So
I will mention the activity that you guys kind of put together for fire was really useful. I think we had great conversation with our community. I think they understand where we're coming from, and they understand the importance and see the value in the direction where you are hoping that they can provide us in. So I think it was a great exercise to do.
Yeah, and I'll touch on a bit more of that with the fire update later in the agenda, because not just the community conversations had time to talk with firefighters and just kind of getting a bigger perspective of this really critical and important service.
Perfect. You'll need a motion on the consent calendar.
Yes, I approve, I move to approve this consent calendar.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. All right, now we'll go ahead and move to scholarship award acknowledgement and present some recipients. Counselor Minor, being part of that committee, is there anything you'd like to share? I have some things here I'd like to share, but since you were a part of that interview panel, anything you'd like to share?
Thanks, Mayor. This is our sixth year. I'll stand corrected if that didn't.
That sounds
but-
about right. Might be fifth, but
It's our sixth year of this opportunity scholarship, and that's available to anybody that lives in Wood Village that is either graduating or have chosen a different path, maybe returning to school, maybe want to pursue they may be 21. We've had recipients way beyond high school age that have been living here and have applied for that opportunity scholarship, and they have received some of the funding. This year we had the largest number, and we had 8 applicants, and very, very quality applicants. And I know that we spent time in the interviews, of course, but in the paperwork, and they're all, which is a good thing, but all qualified. So we did have to work through that and awarded scholarships to 4 individuals. And I don't know all if who's here tonight, but and part of our decision making was that we have awarded this sometimes to candidates twice. When we started, we had 2 applicants, I think, the first year. So we were able to have them come back a second year and apply again. This year we had to, we agreed that the first cut on this would be first-time applicants. And so we set up that criteria and then proceeded with the interviews and making our decision there. But it's a good problem to have too many people that we can't serve them all. I just wished we had some more money to do that because I've watched young kids that many go to Mount Hood, but I've watched others that have pursued even cosmetology and hairdressing, whatever. I guess that'd be cosmetology, wouldn't it? No. Well, anyway, but pursuing trades. So that's why we're trying to spread the net wide, give somebody a boost. And there was one individual there that he wasn't necessarily the strongest, but he did. It was a very, it wasn't quite ready. There are other applicants that had more experiences, but maybe a scholarship like this can give somebody like that a boost and give them more confidence to pursue further education or further training. So that was it. So
yeah, we've had everything from trade workers, healthcare workers, all the way to, I can't remember the actual degree. I don't think it was astrophysics, but something of that sort, or nuclear something at MIT. And these are all people coming from Wood Village. So it's just really great to see the great works coming out of our community and support those who just, again, need a boost or some extra support.
Great. And so tonight we will be awarding four recipients. I believe three of them are in the audience. I will be reading their names, kind of a little bit of what their plans are, and then we'll invite them to come forward, receive their certificate, and then take a picture at the end. So I'll go ahead and start with, I believe, the individual that wasn't able to make it, David Rodriguez, who is planning to go to George Fox University for computer science, achieved a two-year associate degree at Mount Hood while at high school and wanted to go into cybersecurity, and is impressive, talented student who will be returning to Wood Village after graduation. So that's David. For those recipients who are here, Karina Tello Rubio, who will be attending University of Portland for nursing, a first-generation college student who plans to live in Wood Village and commute to school, volunteers every summer at the library for summer reading program. Giovanni Hernandez Perez, who will be attending Mount Hood Community College for art and painting, has been a strong community volunteer and as part of the Líderes Naturales as well. And then last but not least, Leonel Flores Rochin, is planning to attend Portland State University for architect in minor in business, first year generations college student as well, and is self-determined student who wants to remember a building design something great with the public benefit. So if all three could come up, please.
Job. Good job.
Yeah.
No.
This photo.
Photo out, man.
Right.
Before I forget, Giovanni was a raffle winner from the Wood Village Night Out raffle item. So Giovanni, if you want to come pick up your item.
So just a reminder of what that was. So at the night out at fire headquarters, we had a little engagement activity, and those who did it got entered into a raffle for kind of an at-home fire safety kit. So it includes a fire extinguisher, fire safety blanket, smoke alarm. There were 12 winners throughout the community, and there's one of them.
And just a little brief on what each recipient has received is each of them has received $1,300 for scholarships and a $1,200 stipend that can be used for materials, equipments, kind of those needs that those scholarships might not be able to cover. So a total of $2,500 for each recipient. So congratulations one more time. Right.
Makes you feel good.
Now we'll go ahead and get down to other business and we'll do ordinance 2-2025 building fee update.
Yeah, so the real fun, starts now, and you get to hear my voice for the next 2 hours.
What?
Good.
Yeah, it's this one. So we have two fees on our agenda this evening. The first one is going to be on the building fee update. The second one will be on system development charge updates. Normally, you would have Seth present these. He's actually out sick / also on vacation, so he was sick on vacation.
Gone big. Oh, my gosh.
Okay. Okay, I've been given the all clear now. I can keep going. So do want to point out for building fees, they are overseen and regulated by the state of Oregon to make sure that they only cover building activities. As part of that, we do need to officially open the public hearing. So
We'll go ahead and open public hearing.
perfect. So I'm going to walk through is just a bit of the history and then what we're done and what we plan to do. So the last update was almost a year ago. It was driven predominantly for two reasons. One, at the time we were updating our building program for going to what we thought was going to be the state's online permitting system. As you know, we pivoted, did our own system, but through that work really aligned all the fees to make sure they're compliant with state statute and intent, as well as City of Gresham fees because we contract with them for the service. So again, trying to make sure we're just capturing those costs. This was presented to you at your May 13th meeting, which then we sent to the state, which started the state's public notice period as well. So Gresham actually puts theirs on a 4-year schedule, so we just make sure we're following that schedule. This is a brief timeline of what we've been doing. So again, went to council in May. We have the building official review, submit to BCD, that's Building Codes Division at the state. The BCD review, which includes, again, that more open public comment period for comments on the fees. And then it comes before you this evening. And if you adopt it, would be effective September 1st. So not a lot of change, really. Again, aligning Gresham increases its billable rate from 166 to 175 per hour. Now, that's not necessarily what permits will cost. There's a whole schedule, the various permits, a number of, especially the smaller permits. You all set policy, again, like your water heaters, furnaces, those types of things. Want to make sure it's reasonable, that homeowners, property owners come in, do the right thing, get the permit, get it inspected, make sure it's safe. So on some of those smaller ones, we actually lose a bit of money, but on some of those larger commercial projects, we earn a little money. So the goal is it always evens out. A very important thing is, again, those fees stay with that building area. So if it's a plumbing permit, it stays with plumbing activities, building permit, building activities, electrical, etc. So these aren't used for the events. These aren't used for scholarships. These stay with the building department. We generally don't charge actually the 175 per hour fee unless even if someone wants a consult, unless there's a lot of missed appointments or just a lot of these meeting requests. It's few and far between. We've had some businesses come in, have some questions, maybe some trouble with inspections. That's just part of the process. So we don't charge that 175 per se, but we build that into the fee structure to try to recoup those costs. Again, we've made some more revisions as we rolled out our online permitting program. Again, just make sure they align with state statute and to better match Gresham. Again, we round differently than Gresham round. So if you look at Gresham permits, there'll be some differences from us. Also philosophically, again, what you said is, hey, on some of these smaller stuff, we want to encourage people to come in, get that permit because it's the right thing to do. So I believe the whole schedule is in your packet. Any specific questions before we open up for public comment and question?
Question by the council? No questions. Any questions by the public? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing.
Public hearing has been closed. We can have more discussion, have more questions. There is the suggested motion. Again, these would be effective September 1st.
I move to approve ordinance 2-2025 and an ordinance updating the building fees and setting an effective date of September 1st, 2025.
I'll second that.
First and second, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
All right, now we'll move on to resolution 23-2025 master fee schedule update.
Give me 1 second here. There you are. Again, talking about more fees, but also more restricted fees. So quick background on system development charges, since we have some guests certainly here, but also maybe watching from home. So system development charges are charged at the time of either new construction, or if someone, it's not just remodels their home or business, but needs to change their meter size, essentially would trigger that. They're adding capacity to what they need for their home or business. So instead of a small little meter, they need a bigger meter. That's pretty uncommon, doesn't happen often. Mostly it's for new construction coming in, building a new home, apartment, business, etc. And these rates are all calculated they're based on our master plan, which has specific capital projects that look at what's needed to expand our system. And these fees help with that expansion. So they're in 2 buckets. One is called a reimbursement, because the community members have already paid for certain capacity needs, and this is buying into that capacity. The second bucket is for those growth projects, because without these new projects would need to grow. So again, they're paying their share of some capacity needs. So that's the intent behind system development charges. For Wood Village, we have one for our water system, our sewer system, and our park system. Other cities may have it for stormwater and transportation. We have those 3. We index, or we like to index and have these fees by what's called the Engineering News Report. Think of it kind of like a cost of living index. Now, with most cost of living indices, it's based on a bucket of consumable goods. You know, what's the cost of housing, transportation, food, clothes, etc. And it gets, what does it mean to, need to keep my standard of living the same? The Engineering News Record looks at basically raw materials and cost in construction, because that's what we're focused on. These are construction capital projects. It's water line, sewer line, different motors and pumps. So it's a very specific targeted basket of goods. You can see what is done over the past 10 or so years. We certainly had our kind of post-COVID spike as inflation grew, as so did that. It's kind of flattening back out to more historical trends. We put 2.4%. The actual percentage in the calculations is like 2.896. It goes out 4 digits. That's how the math is based. In the presentation, I'm saying 2.4. So what does that mean? Sorry that got off centered. You can see the increase here. So this chart actually is a little different from one in your packet. For some reason, one in the packet, those tables didn't calc right. This is the corrected version. So again, it is that 2.4%. You can see that for parks. Yeah, we talked about that. This is again for water and then for sewer. So you say, well, Greg, that's great. What does all this mean? If someone wants to build a new house in Wood Village, what is their SDC total now? It'd be just under $14,000 at $13,800 and some change. Again, you could say, well, is that how compared to our neighboring cities? It's hard to compare because it's based on those master plans, which are unique to each city on what it needs to grow and increase the system for new development. But for Wood Village, it actually is one of the lower cost cities in the region, especially if you're looking more on the west side of town. It's not uncommon to see SDCs in the range of $60,000 to $80,000 because they'll have stormwater, transportation, and these numbers will be higher because again, it's based on their system and their needs. But also, again, this isn't someone just getting a building permit to do a remodel. This is a brand new construction or enhancing with needing more water or sewer capacity. So here's the suggested motion. What questions can I entertain?
Questions or comments by the council?
No
Have
questions?
none.
Entertain a motion.
I move to approve Resolution 23-2025, a resolution adjusting the rate for water, sewer, and park system development charges for the cost of living.
Second.
First and second, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Now we'll move on to the fun stuff. Discussion about fire updates.
Yeah, the fun continues. So wanted to bring this is a relatively quick update on where we're at with fire service and fire discussions, but certainly designed, we can be interactive, answer some questions, but, oh,
Fire scares everybody.
I know there's a big crowd online right now that was watching nothing for this one. So,
Lost your audience.
no, they're online. They're just, they're watching from home, truly engaged.
Sure.
So quick background. So we are currently on our 1-year agreement with Gresham. For us, that cost $800,000, about a 42% increase from what we'd be previously paying. It was agreed upon by all parties, just not judging that number or the price. It worked for everybody for this year to allow more time for continued conversations. So there hasn't been a new or updated offer from Gresham, and there's still the proposal from Clackamas Fire District 1. So, where we're currently at. So the 4 city managers did actually gather on July 2nd to say, what are our options here and what does this look like? So this isn't the full, exhaustive list, but I kind of bullet point, there is the status quo, different iterations of it. There could be a new district, whether Gresham forms it, 3 cities form it, consolidate with an existing district, whether that's District 1, District 10, District Timbuktu, or each of us can just decide to do our own thing. Those were kind of, again, there's actually about 8 options listed out. And what the city manager decided to do first was, well, we should bring in District 10 and, see where they're at with things. They've come to some meetings, they've had some conversations. They were involved in the Safer Council some 5 or 6 years ago. So it's really, okay, how viable is District 10? What's the workload involved? Who can do the work? Kind of understanding that. Also going to meet with District 1 as, again, 4 cities first week in August. Kind of the same thing. While some of the 3 cities are a little more familiar with their work and service, that does look different if it's 4 cities looking at whether it's annexation, consolidation, contracting, and starting those conversations. Then essentially after those conversations, kind of regroup as just the 4 managers and go, where do we go from here? Probably take things back to you at your meeting in September and see what's resonating, what was learned. Are we still on a path of a district, and what does that look like, and who can be involved? Because if, again, Gresham's had some conversations with its council about, cost of a fire district, impacts, just cost of fire service. So they are having those conversations. And, if they're like, well, district makes sense, obviously, because they've assets, liabilities, a lot of other work, it would take them longer than, we don't have those issues to deal with. But if we all 4 decide that's the path, what does that look like moving forward together and everything in between? So,
Greg, can I just get some clarification here?
Please.
On the next steps? I'm kind of familiar with them, but are you, if I heard you correctly, the 4 city managers are inviting District 10 to come and actually make us, I call it a supposal as opposed to a proposal. Is that kind of the idea? What would it look like and see if they actually would have a plan for that?
Yeah, I think it's trying to understand, I'll call it, the strengths, weaknesses, challenges, and opportunities.
Okay.
With that, because District 10, how it did unwind, I think presents some unique things to sort out and understand.
Yeah.
And then who could do that work?
Yeah. Well, it's a good step. I'm glad you're doing that, because, that's one of the first comments people make if we want a district. So I'm glad that you're giving District 10 a chance to sit in front of you and say,
what does that look like?
Yeah. How can you guys do this?
Yeah. That's a great way to phrase how the first question, like, how can you do this?
Yeah.
And, is it, I don't want to say if everything's always possible. How probable, and at what time frame?
Yeah, good.
And how does that work? We've had some real recent, I think, really good engagement at the night out. I think the booth was about as successful as we could design and make it. I think there is there's good activity on the dot exercise where people really, where we asked them what's important, quality, timeliness, or cost. A lot of people is they want them there fast. And we asked how fast is fast. That kind of 4-minute range was the most popular. And we know that's more achievable. I'm not going to say it is, but more achievable with the second station kind of in that Wood Village Fairview gap, which is in the report. And that map really, I think, spoke to people where here's current coverage. This is what coverage could do with a second station. And no, while we didn't present specific costs and what those cost increases may look like, it seemed like people, no one likes paying more. It also seemed like this was a very specific thing they'd be buying. And I don't want to say they were okay with that, but maybe open to that or willing to explore that, invest in that. So it wasn't just a dot exercise, but I think those conversations with you all was enlightening and I think helpful. Again, I had some good conversations with the firefighters who showed up to support the night out and understanding their perspectives. And I think just concerns with, what does, I don't say what change looks like. I don't want to make it sound like they're just anti-change, but there's just a lot of unknowns at the moment and they just want to be focused on helping people in an emergency and retaining that ability. And I think a big piece of the conversation is, I think, not just for Wood Village, but I think I like to say honestly for all 4 cities, how can we invest more in this critical service in a way that's financially sustainable and responsible? I think that's what we're trying to do in my conversations. Like we're trying to put more assets into the region, not take stuff away. So those were good conversations. You've probably seen some of the articles that came out on the Outlook last week, whether on the paper or online. There's also been some union communication. I think it was mostly directed to the mayors. I don't think it made wide publication. We did respond more to the union one. I was kind of for the Outlook articles, great. People can send, they're sharing their views and their thoughts, and that's all well and good. There was another communication that was a little more direct with some thoughts. And so we just responded with kind of, again, our perspectives, and I'll share that out with you all in an email tomorrow. We also did a press release that focused on the night out and engagement done at the night out, also can kind of pointing at some key aspects of the report, especially what a second station can do, how that aligns with what we're seeing with the community about wanting, quick and quality service. And just, again, that reminder that we got a value rate for 30 years. There's no more value rate to get. And so we're gonna have to pay more. And so if we have to pay more, it'd be nice to get some more. And I think that some more looks like a second station.
Yeah, I can share that. The conversations I was kind of having with community members, I, was upfront and say that the cost of fire service was increasing. Whichever map you look at, the increase is coming, but kind of what is in return with the cost? Do we keep the same, or do we potentially get additional infrastructure, facility resources into our area that can hopefully provide a better service? And timeliness was the number one thing that most everybody said. And so people were sharing personal stories of them dealing with fires and that extreme kind of unease of not knowing when they're getting there and things of that nature. So, these are real stories from our community that, again, they're sharing with us. And so this is a huge conversation that I think none of us are taking lightly. So it's important that we kind of continue with that in our forefront as we continue these discussions.
Yeah, again, I mean, what you're sharing out here, Greg, certainly, I know when I was working the booth and walking people through there, it is timeliness, response time. What I liked about it, and I came away from there with, is we're starting at the right place to educate, and that's to really look at what people think is the most important. And by not talking about dollars right now makes some sense, in that let's help educate them first, because the dollar amount means nothing unless you know what you're going to get. And we got to work on that. And I see for the Pumpkin Fest, we're going to have a similar exercise. And I did get into some numbers with 2 people that were pretty well informed I didn't give them an exact number per thousand because that can change, but I did say it's going to cost. But I again, package it all around sustainability,
Mhm.
safety, and response time. And we can't, well, and buried in that, and not buried, but we can't afford to continue on in a contract that we don't know where it's going to take us. So, but it was a good exercise. I thought it was, and
Yeah.
not hard to do. I mean, it was,
No, I
2
mean,
minutes.
a lot of people, were saying, these are professionals, so quality of service kind of for them was, I don't want to say a no-brainer, but kind of like, this is what they bring. They're professionals. So either with what we have or who we go, or we look at something different, professionals are going to come with the service. So, that's why a lot of folks were more leaning toward the timeliness because that's important in a matter of seconds. So.
Yeah, and that's, whether home or something's on fire, loved one, or even a stranger that you come across that needs, emergency medical help. Seconds feel like minutes and minutes feel like hours. So certainly understand why that one, it does also kind of track with what early polling looked like in the AP Triton report. So that wasn't a scientific poll, but that was early. So again, for next steps, meeting all 4 cities with District 10 this week. Clackamas 1 on August 5th. We'll then, again, I said 4 city managers is kind of, what does that all mean? Where do we think our councils may think of some of that? What are some of, again, the barriers, the opportunities, who can do the work, how long this work will take? In the meantime, we'll continue with our community outreach and education. There's some polling supposed to be out this week, probably next week or 2. It is kind of just ballparking the dollars. Praxis, so it's working with the 3 cities on it, and Praxis is like, yeah, it's probably going to be pretty eye-opening for some communities. I think we're doing very well in our outreach, education, keeping things up to date, getting the word out. Whether people choose to read it, we can't control that, but at least opportunities for it. I also had I think a nice positive meeting with Gresham City Manager this afternoon, just a couple hours ago. Again, there'd been some articles, there'd been some, I don't want to call them rumblings, but they're setbacks too strong of a word, but some other counselors, some other people maybe forgetting that we're trying to collaborate and that collaboration builds something better. And so others have had, I don't want to engage in speculation of the hows and the whys. But we met, I think we've got it reframed, restructured to be some positive. It looks like maybe some of our outreach materials might have been misused or misconstrued by some. I said, no, they're just highlighting the report and getting, people aren't going to read 172 pages, but if they read the brochure or the handout, they'll get the gist, they'll get, costs are going up, and with those costs, we want to build something, and we want to build it sustainably. So I think we're on a good page about collaborating and understanding what I think the 2 most talked about options are, and then we're going to go see where that hits, where that lands. Basically, I think in talking with Gresham, their goal is to try to, where do we think we're headed? And they want to know that around September. I think we're on that same framework of where do we think we're headed. I know the extension said definitely by, end of calendar year, but I think we all know early fall time, at least, where do we think we're headed? It will be a critical step. So if it looks like, maybe Gresham's not ready, needs more work, and we can't find a solution, we need time. If it does look like, no, there's some there, well, we need to figure out what we do in the meantime altogether. So a lot of good work. I think we want to march together to at least find out where we think we're headed. So,
well, and as you having these meetings with the city managers, that's really good. And I'm pleased. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that the city managers are starting to coalesce around the common goal of the region. So that's good. Those comments that we're seeing or conversations that we're picking up on with other councils, that informs us on where our next step needs to be. And it can inform us if we're going to, I mean, I'm really happy about Fire District 10 coming and seeing if that's possible. That could take a little
Mhm.
more time, but it's, our decisions are going to be weighed on the information that we've gathered. And it's going to be based on what we think is good for our, not just solely our community, because we can't do this by ourselves, but collectively now and then, as we keep saying, the future. And it's, I'll leave it at that, but it's hard to work with people if they don't want to work with you, basically.
Yeah, and I think.
It is, you can fight, you're doing good work. But eventually you gotta make, people have to make a decision. Can
And I think
work?
there's some, and I mean, I think it can't just point to one group or one city.
Oh.
That's, I think some past pains, maybe some past comments that are still maybe, I'll say emotional. And so that can come out from time to time. And it's, just good to take a step back and go, where do we want to head together? I mean, that's what we're trying to focus on. Yeah, it was imperfect in the past and it worked until it didn't. There's no point of blaming. We are where we are now. And if we can reframe it, regroup, and do something that'll be better for, each city collectively and as a region, that seems like a good goal.
I think we've always approached this as not a personal matter, and I think that's been kind of our strength in all of this, that as much as we can easily fall into the narrative and lash out, I think Greg especially has kept everything with the goal of a regional solution. And I think that that's been important. And conversations I've had has kind of mirrored those of what Greg is putting out there as well, because it's easy for the elected and staff to kind of sometimes part ways because of emotions or egos and things of that nature. So as much as folks might feel a certain way because of our brochure, it's straight facts, and that's kind of what we're leading with here. And I think that's been our goal since day one, is lead with the facts, because we've said it. If our best bet is Gresham, I mean, we kind of have to bite the bullet there. And so again, we're waiting for all the facts to come out. So I feel that the conversation with District 10 could be not only an eye opener, but a tipping point as well. So I think that can, shine the light on a lot of unknowns, because there's, I think, folks out there that feel they have a understanding, but truly don't know the depths of certain things. And so I think once that conversation is had, hopefully, we're more aligned regionally. You said you had the 4 city managers meeting with District 1 on the 4th, August 4th?
5th.
August 5th. Okay.
Yeah, so District 10's this Thursday, District 1, August 5th, and then August 13th, we all kind of regroup, regather, debrief, and go, okay, we've heard from the 2 existing districts. Is there some there? Again, challenges, opportunities. Where do you think we need to be headed? And I also think at the end of the day, if we're not in alignment, how does that done respectfully, where you do you, because you're doing best for your community, and we just move forward.
Absolutely, because, things could look different 4 or 5 years. So we don't, I just continue to try to keep, you got to have a willing partner if you're going to move forward in these things. But you also don't want to create such a animosity, if you want, that you can't undo it at some point should things change.
There's also timelines, again, Gresham's has a lot more to consider in some of these conversations than we do. And if they get to the point where I'll call it's a district, not saying it's provided, maybe it's new, maybe it's one of these. And we're still, yep, a district makes sense, but the timeline, we can talk how to get from point A to point B and, what does that look like? So I think, again, there's just a lot of conversations still to had, but again, September, October is coming up and you look to see that in September of kind of an update where we landed and where we think councils are interested in pursuing.
Good timeline.
Other questions, thoughts, concerns? Like I said, I'll send out some of the info that we've shared this past week or so, just so you have it. But I think again, maybe call it a little setback or a little dust up. I think we can reframe it, regroup, refocus.
Yeah. You spent a good hour with the firefighters, I think, from.
I don't say I wasn't quite. I knew it was more than a half hour.
Yeah.
But I mean, by the time I looked at the clock, it was, the event's nearing done. But they did let me turn on the lights to the engine. So
Cool. Well, you give us, you give us, we don't need all, but just a summary of how that.
it was all really positive. It was all really positive. I think they understand where the three cities are at and how we got to where we are. I think they also understand, Gresham's big city, a lot of competing interests and priorities, and we're all hamstrung by Oregon's property tax system.
Yeah.
I just think, they want to know what's going to happen. I think so too. And, ultimately they really want to make sure the community is protected and well served.
Okay.
So no, it was all very, very
That's good.
positive.
You went over there. I started to go over there and then you were there. So I just let you go.
And it certainly, again, they're like, no, we get it. Like, we're not mad at you. We don't blame you. I'm not sure they're even, mad or blaming Gresham. I mean, it's just, we're kind of in this boat.
Yeah.
And again, pointing a finger of that's not going to solve the problem. And I think they get that too. And just, I think they want to be part of a solution.
Good.
All right, we'll go ahead and move to discussion Parks Commission meeting recap.
Yes, thank you. So this was not in your report. There's no report because it was just last Thursday. Two of the three of you were there. So really, I should have just given you the debrief, Councilor Minor.
Well, I have a lot of questions.
Well, there's not a lot of answers. Let's see.
We don't have those.
So for the agenda for parks, we did give a project update on our two big projects. So we actually did a little walking tour, walked the new pathway, the picnic area, and gave a behind the scenes tour of the new restroom, as I call it, the magic behind every flush. So got to see the utility corridor and some of the background of that. Spent more time though talking about we're at the wetland park and the three grants we've received, and next week I'm going off to Salem to ask for nearly 300,000 in the state parks grant that we made it to the interview round. So hopeful on that, and the budget this year is 940,000 for the build out, or as much of the build out as possible with that new wetland. So the project's not quite in the state yet for permitting. Soon. We just finalized a planting list today. We worked with the wisdom of the elders and Confederate Tribes of Grand Ronde to swap out some plants to be more natively significant plants. We've worked that there. Actually, the updated plant list also included quantities. The first one didn't have actual quantities. There's probably close to 200,000 plants as part of this project.
Really?
Yeah.
200,000?
Yeah.
Are they like this little?
Some of them, there's 100,000 of 2-inch potted ones. And then you have your 1 gallons, your 5 gallons, your stuffs. But those community planting days are going to be really important. I think the more community planting weeks, if not months.
There'll still be a wetlands. So the plants are all going to be the kinds of plants that would
thrive in a more damp environment. And there's certainly within the wetland, there's more damp than not. Like you go out there today, there's actually a lot of dry area, but then you do have where it's contoured. So got a draft plan for the unencumbered space. We're just kind of leaving it for permitting as picnicking, but certainly asking the community if we could do something different. You know, is that meditative space? Is it a nature play? It's not really suitable for active, you know, sports recreation, but other opportunities. Again, the gateway element, certain signage, and then we hope to actually get the project out to bid by winter for that. We're in a year from now. Instead of council meetings, we're out doing planting.
How many you say? How many? 100,000?
By 200,000.
200,000.
I mean, probably a little less than 200,000, but you know, call it 187,000.
I'm gonna need some gloves.
But that's also, I mean, really the thought with the community planting days, no, it's not just to help plant some plants. It's really to help create ownership, stewardship of this new park asset, this new thing. So whether it's 1 year from now, we need some help getting out the weeds so these 200,000 plants can thrive, to 20 years from now, family comes back and says, hey, I planted this. This is our park. Gave them a update on our reservations. And so this past, about a year ago, we actually did relook at our reservation policy and program. And then this past March, actually launched an online reservation system that's really getting positive response and positive reviews. People can go and actually actively see the calendar, what's already booked, what's available, and make reservations online. And since March, so this is just since March, from March to July 1, this is our facility usage. So again, the sports field, it's mostly Play East, but very active. But you see the picnic shelter, gazebos have been picking up. And it actually includes then this facility, City Hall, and the conference spaces. When you break down how it's being used, again, you see a lot of Play East there, recreation and sporting practice. But then you've got your birthday parties, your graduation events, weddings, baby showers, all the great stuff. And again, this is just from March to July 1. So it's a real popular park. And if you saw, I mean, even a birthday party going on this evening. So certainly, again, the new picnic and barbecue space, very popular, well utilized. We then had a nice conversation, as we talked about at the retreat, you know, a parks maintenance building, introduced that topic. We made it very clear, this isn't improving it, this isn't picking a location, but starting the conversation knowing that there's no timeline for it. It's not most likely not to be in next fiscal year's budget with everything going on in fire, but maybe the following. And we just talked about the storage needs, capacities. This is just, you know, a general representation rendering of something, you know, again, it's a pre-manufactured steel building, 40 by 60. It can have some decorative components. It doesn't need to be just ugly, ugly. It's also not an architectural marvel. When we talked, you know, location considerations, you know, keep costs down, land we already own, nearby utilities, and most of our work occurs at this park. So being close to here would be a benefit. Showed a number of different options. We spent a lot of time talking about Hawthorne, but also talked about it because I think we need to talk about Hawthorne area. There's a lot of interest in what it is, and also with that interest, its capacity and, you know, access. You know, this is a neighborhood park entryway, not a main park entryway. And so you do too much is that attracting people through neighborhood streets, not a main street, you know, like Halsey is to the main part of the park. We also kind of talked about that frontage grove, not the one right by the splash pad, but the one a little further to the east, you know, what the gazebo is and what is that space? So we've kind of agreed we need to talk about these two spaces in a little more detail about what they are, what their future may be, and if a parks facility is maybe part of Hawthorne, how can it be an add to the park without adding to what I'll call negative externalities to, you know, the people in Hawthorne, Cedar, again, keeping it a neighborhood park entrance, but maybe serving some needs that don't exist today there. So it was a good conversation, a lot of next steps, but I think it opened up some conversations about underutilized parts of our park, and they can be underutilized. That's fine. It's also just having that common understanding of what that means. Any questions on any of those so far before I keep on cruising? Okay. We then talked about CDBG projects because for the last several years, the projects have been focused on the park. They're not exclusive to the park. They don't have to be in the park, but that's just where they've been. And we give a bit of history, you know, our 80 pathway and picnic was a CDBG project, ball field restoration, Grove picnic area, basketball court resurfacing, irrigation, Hawthorne Trailhead. I mean, a lot of CDBG money in the park. So we looked at the master plans and said, well, we got the wetland park building and it could use some more funding. Is that an option? We've talked in the past about nature play. We brought up skate park or pump track because there's been talk. There's no plans. We don't know where they live. Also asked them if it's not a park project, are there water, sewer, ADA curb ramps? What the park commission landed on for the recommendation was, so the area, we got our new ADA pathway and our new restroom area. The distance between them with the driveway is a tricky ADA to meet. And so when we looked at that as part of both projects, it's going to be about $30,000 to basically cut out that section of drive aisle, regrade it to make it the whole thing from here to restroom 100% ADA. We didn't have that margin in our budgets and we knew we'd have to bring that back at some point. Park said, make that your CDBG project, finish that project out. Also, there isn't really pedestrian access off of Halsey. It's a big driveway. Having at least pedestrian access off Halsey would be good. If we can make it ADA, that's even better, and kind of connecting how we can to the park proper. And then whatever may be left, again, kind of look at that lighting for the frontage. So we're not talking about field lighting or trail lighting, but how to utilize some enhanced lighting for other parts of our frontage park. I will say, after the night out, finally got to see the restroom lit up at nighttime, and it does really well. It's very bright. The spotlight's bright. It's appropriate. It's not too bright. I don't think we'll get concerns from the neighbors, but it lights up that surrounding area really, really well. So that was the recommendation on CDBG. So we'll start putting together a package on those items for application. We then concluded talking about the city's 75th anniversary. So as you brought up in budget and you all said, have parks figure it out. That seems like a great parks thing to do. So we talked about what we did for the 50th, put out some ideas, and they suggested, special event in February. That's going to be tough at best. But they like the idea of, maybe some special banners around celebrating the 75th year, special, whether it's stickers or other items, I call them swags at events. And then look out making the night out maybe a little bigger, a little extra special because of the 75th. So we have that $7,500 programmed in this year's budget to put that together. I know a couple of ideas talked about at night out, a drone show. And so for those who aren't familiar with the drone show, which would just be you, because I already talked to those two about it last week.
Like the personalized presentation here.
It's basically, if you think of a fireworks show, but with smaller specialty drones that can change LED lighting patterns, programming, so you can have flame breathing dragons flying around. You could have logos, wording. You can really have some really cool animations.
But no booms.
No booms. You can have it to music. You can make it spell out boom.
That'd be all right. I don't think my dog can spell.
I think the pricing is going to be prohibitive, but we'll keep looking into it. But if not that, what else could make the night out a little extra special for the city's 75th year? So
You said February, did I hear you say February?
correct. So the city's anniversary is actually February 9th, 1951 is our incorporation date. So if to do a 75th birthday city, it would be in February.
Well, is there anything that would stop waiting? It's February, but we're going to celebrate it in September or celebrate it in June or.
Oh, I think the thought was, okay, if the night out's in July or Pumpkin Fest is in October, then that's just another event for staff to try to program and put together. So why not use one of our more larger established, that's a full family. So, Easter's, it's for kids. We're trying to expand it.
No, well, point well taken. Yeah. Don't build another one.
Yeah, that was kind of add some extra goodies. Give us the goodie room.
Yeah.
So we'll plan some goodies and bring it back. And that wrapped up parks. Any questions today? I guess for the two that are at the meeting, that summarize it well enough.
Right on point.
Well, it sounds like, for a newcomer here, and it's a pretty good plan. There's a lot of stuff going on and it sounds like you had a great conversation.
Yeah, we hadn't met since October, so I mean, a little past due, but we wanted to wrap up the park projects and really highlight those. So yeah, it was a good meeting. And it's still me.
All right. We're gonna discuss city council interview process. As we all know, we have a vacant seat, and this is just kind of a refresher. Do we keep it? What do we change? How do we adjust?
That's a perfect segue, Mayor. Thank you. So yes, we do have a council vacancy. It has been advertised, but how it's filled is dictated by your charter. So if there's more than 2 years left of the term, it just goes to the next general election. If it's less than 2 years, you all get to appoint somebody. And that's what it says. So back in 2020, council said, we want to formalize this, have a, we got the application. We now have the questions, scoring metric. You saw it tonight. That's pretty much what we've been using for council applications. But again, it was a good moment to say, is this still what you all want for the appointment that's scheduled for September at this point? So we have Councilor Mark Clark resigned as he and his family moved out of the city in June. His term ends end of December 2026. So we've advertised position on our website, social media. It was in the July newsletter advertising that. So we have the application period through August because we're not meeting in August. So we've programmed, but you all tell us if you still want it at your next council meeting, which is September 9th, for the actual interview and appointment consideration. So that's what we have on the schedule. So in your packet, you also had it earlier today, the prepared set of questions, and then that scoring metric that basically takes the concepts, thoughts, and ideas, philosophy behind the questions into, if you have to rank candidates, how you feel about them. Again, you let the candidate have a couple opening statements, and then, you all make an appointment. So it's fairly straightforward, non-complex, but formal and set. But this is where it's, you tell us if that's what you want. So would you like the applications and interviews at your next meeting? And would you like to adjust the questions or scoring metric? And what else would you like for consideration?
I guess the first question is, you said it's advertised. Have we have any applicants?
We do. We actually, I think, have two.
Wow.
I know. First, we're filling Play East, and now there's 2 council applications.
What's next? All of our committees? Not.
That's too
All
much.
right. Take that back. No.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I think we have 2 applications, and I think, there's a potential for a third. So
Is it, it seems like there could be a conversation. There's just 3 of us here tonight. And by the way, I will not be here in person on September. And I'm likely going to be, it could be 4-hour time difference. So I won't be doing that.
4-hour time.
How's that work?
Nova Scotia. So if we
expanded your journey.
well, it's, it depends where we're at that time, but it's going to be 3, probably not 4. I don't think we'll get it there, but that's by then. But so I won't be there and likely not participating remotely. So one of the things, if we could have just an open conversation here, what do you think we need? What's the discussion here? Not long, but I mean, what are we looking for to round out the council for the year? What are some of the things that we might feel? I don't know, Pat, Mayor. I mean, the kinds of things that we think are important to fill out the role.
I think it's important that you are able to work with other people and not make your own opinion the right one. See other people's point of view. I think that's really important, even if you don't agree with it.
I think obviously, we've always talked about, and I've heard other council say, the way our council works, respectfully, collaborative, and kind of like Counselor Smith said, even though we might not agree, we still find a way to continue the work forward. It's not a stopping point. So I think that is a huge thing,
Probably the strongest thing.
to consider.
Yeah.
I think this, I think I've only been a part of one other time where we've been able to appoint a council member. And I think those are opportunities that we have to, if an individual that has applied is an individual that probably wouldn't have ran for the position, it gives us an opportunity to kind of consider those options of taking someone that perhaps wouldn't not have taken the position without this kind of circumstances into consideration. So I think we have an opportunity. It's what I'm trying to get at to a point. Hopefully, something I've always been keen about is new voices. I think that's important. Highlighting individuals that potentially, again, would otherwise not be here. So I think those are the things for me that I'm considering with this opportunity. Obviously, is just the remainder of the term, which again ends next.
It's really
December.
just over a year.
It's just a little over a year, and again, I think there's nothing in our charter that also says we have to appoint one of the candidates. We also have that kind of discrepancy to consider. It's, do they fit? Obviously we don't want someone just to be here, but also looking upon what we're talking about.
That's interesting. I appreciate we can have this, this conversation. Because in my mind, I think any organization needs, and I've said this in a meeting that I remember when I had with Jennifer, you need institutional knowledge, but you constantly need new ideas. And new ideas doesn't mean that it's a young person necessarily. New ideas mean that they may have maybe experiences in Wood Village that none of us have had. So I just am following in line with, and I appreciate hearing the conversation is that, the job, I mean, this job isn't real complicated, but what makes it important is that we keep thinking about new ideas, and we have an opportunity on the council to listen to new ideas and hopefully bring people in. Mayor said it. Pat, you've said it before. I mean, we got to keep casting this net as wide as we can. And I think that's real important that we try to keep doing that. And if this appointment and this situation doesn't allow it, I mean, I agree. You don't have to appoint now, and we can, it's doing the right thing, not doing the easy thing. It's doing the thing that we want this council to be represented as. And that's that's my thoughts. And I want to, in saying that, I want to make sure that, and Greg, you're listening to this, that
Well, you better be.
I'm not wrong.
the questions and I got my packet and got out of the house without picking it up. But I had some notes on there. But the metric what we just said here, I'm not sure that is coming out in the metrics. In the metric. Now, maybe so that there is, now, I mean, you may be reading it, and I have not wordsmithed this, nor have I tried to do anything. I wanted to have listen to a conversation and make sure that we're aligning the questions and the matrix. So it, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can, is there a magical question that, how will you fit on the council?
No, I don't know if it's the question.
Well, no, I mean, for the metric,
Yeah.
but you've got, look at the principles of good government, willingness to listen and learn before forming in policies, opinions and positions. Look at the council goals, policies, which some of your policies are how you interact with each other, how you interact with the public and how you speak as
Well, one of the
individuals.
things, I mean, yeah, we can always put that under the umbrella, but is the person you're talking to likely to bring new ideas? Is the person you're talking to building our perspective and our understanding of our community? So something like that is what I'm hearing from the three of us now. I'm just one voice right here, and I don't. But that's where I think there could be some language in there. But so I will, if I am within 3 hours, I'll try to stay up.
Are you going to be back for the September
No,
22nd?
he's gone
for like
through what, November?
I'll be back for sure in December.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. No, it's, yeah, but who knows? I may be back sooner than that. I mean, anything can happen when you're driving around the country.
Oh, yeah.
Get too hot, too cold,
Mhm.
get in the flood,
Too good.
hailstorms.
yeah. Aliens
Hail.
from the sky.
Yes.
So what if adding to the metric, and again, if we're having interviews at the next council meeting, I won't have time to bring it back before then, but on the spirit of, not fully wordsmith, ability to bring new perspectives and ideas while following the spirit of group decision-making and community needs.
Pretty good. USC guy.
Oh, I wasn't sure, if I was listening, if that was a question or you were understanding that I was listening.
I think that captures it.
I think that's why is an important, because I think we've all made it a conscious effort to build that amongst us and staff, right? Because it's not just amongst us, it's our ability to work with staff that then has given us the opportunity to create some of these awesome experiences that we have for our community and our neighbors. So
Yeah, happy to, I'll probably tweak it a little bit,
Yeah.
but I'll add that to the metric.
I don't have the questions, but do any of our questions actually get to that?
Well, when you kind of look at them, I mean, there's a few, you certainly have like leadership decision making, but when you look at what do you believe are the most important issues facing our community and what else would like to tell us about how and why you want to serve, I think those could be telling of perspectives or views.
Not necessarily the teamwork portion, though.
Well, definition of leadership, how you show your leadership style, important factors in the group decision making process. We could maybe tweak it with what do you consider important factors in the group decision-making process, and how do you handle countering points or, alternative ideas,
Well,
or consider alternative ideas?
that one, willingness to listen and learn before forming policy opinions and positions, that pretty much
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
rubrics. I mean, yeah, that's a good qualifier there.
Right.
And I think that matches up with number 3. Uh,
Mhm.
but you know, your point is well taken.
Well, I mean, because we could potentially, not that it matters, you could bring questions the 9th and then do interviews the 23rd.
I mean, yeah, we could.
If we need to adjust or add any, change any to.
Yeah, no one's been scheduled
that
for
we
the
have
9th.
Yeah,
And
just make sure it's
targeted
right.
it
Make sure.
at what you're basing the metric on.
I mean, not to like add another question, but even just the simple question of what does collaboration look for you, to you, right? Because again, that's really getting to the point of collaborating doesn't mean just, oh yeah, agreeing with everybody, but being able to have just that conversation, right, with somebody
Well,
and bring that different
have a
perspective.
conversation and not come out with a decision.
I mean, collaboration doesn't mean decision making. So, again, yeah, figuring out how we can do that, but without adding too much to that.
How about a
That's what-
question like, what would you do if nobody else agreed with what you said?
Yeah,
Something like that to get a reaction of, how they would handle a bad situation.
yeah. 'Cause I think that is an important piece out of all this.
So how's this? We could either bring some options at your September 9th meeting for your consideration, do interviews later, or, if the mayor, we could take the spirit of what you're saying, Mayor and I can work on finalizing the questions. I just want to know what your comfort level is. If you want to see the questions first, cool, we'll do that on the 9th. If you're like, we'd rather just kind of do the process, we trust staff, you're listening.
Yeah.
Well,
We-
why don't you guys figure it out?
But it sounds like maybe add a question. So we got the additional metric, and also add a question, whether it's collaboration or, countering viewpoints. How
Yeah.
do you handle that?
I mean, we're setting the deadline. I mean. we're
Correct.
setting
We set the deadline.
So, whenever y'all know this, you've been in interviews, you have questions. In the end, you're looking for a fit. And there's not always a question that will get to that. But it's important that through the interview, you have an opportunity to say to yourself, like a fit. And if it doesn't mean you maybe not pick them. Sometimes you can have another visit if you want. But I think that always is important. And a fit on the council is an important criteria.
Yes,
So
it is.
anyway, it's real important. And questions don't always pull that out.
There are no perfect questions or
No,
interview
and-
process.
and I used to tell people all the time, interviewing is one of the worst ways to make a decision about hiring. It's a factor and it's a part of it, but it better not be the only thing you use. So anyway, I like this conversation we're having. I mean, I just like that we're
Yeah,
talking
no,
about it.
it's important, we don't always have these opportunities, and as you mentioned, not that we're saying this is the individual, but again, how do we through all these find an individual that can continue to help us grow as a decision body making?
Well, I think what's been unique for our council is, for the large majority, is people from the community wanting good things for the community. It's not how can I enrich myself, my home, my position, my whatever. It's how can I help the community? And that is uncommon.
That is very uncommon. So,
Bill would often say when he came to Wood Village, he died and went to city manager heaven. It took me a little while, and working and seeing with other communities what that really meant. And it's the council that, again, you don't have to agree on everything. And
No.
there's great value in different viewpoints and perspectives. But at the end of the day, you make a decision and everyone moves forward with it. And there's clear direction on the goals, values, mission, and purpose. The work's hard enough without then the governing board, well, either spending your time fighting each other or building something up.
Yeah, I agree.
Not sure if you got the direction you think.
Well, I think it was, I mean, it sounds like maybe actually more bit beneficial to bring it back on September 9th with, here's kind of what we heard you say, we've crafted some stuff, finalize that, do the interviews at the following council. That seems to be the most prominent, comfortable
Yeah,
approach.
because
Sounds
again,
good.
Counselor Dar isn't here.
Correct.
Council President Dar is not here, so.
Give her an opportunity to look at the
Yeah.
questions. And
Yep.
so, yeah, I think that could be, that makes it
Yeah,
work.
so you control the timeline, you control the process. So happy to do what you
Yeah.
feel is going to be, the right thing for the community.
And again, probably that first September meeting will be pretty, depending on how August shakes out, could be a lot on that first meeting. So deferring some to the second meeting is not a bad option. as
Not a
well.
bad option.
You've heard later.
We
If you're
defer.
Too busy.
Yeah, so, all right, we'll go ahead and move to Director of Public Works report.
You finally get a break from me.
Yeah, we gave you some homework.
Well, Mayor, councilors. Okay, so we'll go over a few things tonight. We'll keep it short. So this last month, the storm swale, the bioswale on the north portion of the parking lot here at City Hall was redone. You can see on the right side, the picture, it was just overgrown with weeds. Robbie took a lot of time trying to fix that up, but it really was just in disarray. So we got that all revamped. It's looking beautiful. Well, should work wonderfully this fall. So that was nice.
Notice that driving in.
I didn't.
Yeah, once it's done, you don't realize what it should look like. We had Levitt out. They were able to complete manhole sealing on 10 of them in the upper village. So that kind of started our process with reducing INI that we will continue through the rest of this year. All of our utility staff were recertified as flaggers as well. So I believe that's could be a 3-year certification, but minimum 2. And then we added 6 new trash receptacles in the park. So we have 3 in this west side Grove, and then we had 3 on the east side to go along with the CDBG with the new tables and grills. So you can see that on the right side. And that's from the East Grove. And then 3 new sample stations were added around town. So we had one on Shamrock, Walnut, and then up on Gleason. And with our new population this year, our requirements actually changed. So previously every month, all of our monthly sampling, we've been taking 4 samples. We now need to take 5. It's all population based. So we did add 3 new stations. We moved one so it was in compliance. So now we can actually just split our system in half. We can do 5 one month, 5 the other month, and kind of get a good rotation and a good view of what's going on in our system. And then the utility staff were able to install 162 radio reads. We actually just received last week or the week before within the beginning of this month, 185 radios, and that will actually complete our whole entire system. So instead of going out and having to touch every single meter, we'll now be able to drive by and pick up all of our radios all of our meters at the end of the month, and then kind of move that process going forward. It will be nice. We do have some radios or meters in our system that there's a process that we can do. It's called data logging, where you can see what's gone on with the customer over a certain period of time, whether that's a month and a half up to 3 months. Say if they have a leak, you can kind of see where that started or track that. Now that we have the radios attached to those meters, the meters that did not have that capability will have that capability. So it's a nice benefit for anybody who's having issues and wants to know what's going on. We can provide some more information for them to look at. So. And then a really cool thing, I actually worked with so we work with an organization, OAWU, it's Oregon Association of Water Utilities. They actually provide services all over Oregon. And if you are under a population of 10,000, we actually have some free services that we can utilize them for. They have what's called circuit riders. And I've gotten to know one of them pretty well and worked with him to write an article about leak detection. And he actually gave our city a shout out on the newsletter. I do have it if anybody wants to read it, but so I thought that was pretty cool that he did that. So. And then our permitting, we've had building, with ARCO, Fred Meyer's been doing their remodel, a little bit, some more work in the byway. But I wanted to call out our water consumption. Now, every summer, our percentage, our water loss does always go down. The more water that's used with irrigation and everything, it kind of almost masks that baseline of what we're losing. So the number is very, very nice this month at 4.75. Yes, we love that. We did actually last month after utility staff flushed, we did shut down. So our system is looped over on 244th. We have a line that goes from 244th underneath the freeway over to Sandy. We do have the capability of just isolating that line. So we did shut it down. Now it wasn't for the whole entire month. So we're going to give it another month and see if we have good results from that. It's possible that maybe there's some issues with that line. Now, if there were to be, luckily we can shut the whole thing down and kind of, we can do flushing at the end of those lines and keep good water quality for our system. So ideally, if anything were to be wrong in our system, that would be the best case scenario. But so we'll see what comes in the next few months.
That number, 4.75,
Mm-hmm.
are you suspicious of it? Or is it?
It's hard to say because we also did flushing within this
Okay.
period, and the flushing numbers are calced. I mean, they know what the flow is. They keep track of how long they have the hydrants open. So the flushing numbers should be accurate, but our loss percentage goes down more so when we're doing flushing. So next month will really be the definitive month
Well,
to see, because we're also, she's just reporting percentage to you, but we're also running calculations based on actual gallons, so we can kind of see the actual gallons lost per month.
Okay.
It worked.
Well,
Yes, it
good work. I mean, you're tracking it and you're finding ways to see what's real and what isn't.
I think so you never want a big leak in your system. So to say we're hopeful that we have found it, because then if we have found it, we can strategize. What does that mean? And we can have it isolated in the meantime without affecting water quality, customers, et cetera, to find what's the most effective route to fix it.
It's the next steps if we do find it. So.
Even I think last month it was 17.
Yes, it was.
Actually, not all, the flushing actually crossed 2 months, and I didn't have all of the flushing deduction in there. So the month prior was actually a little bit lower. It was more like 13.
I mean, that's like, close to 9% difference. I mean, that's.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, every summer
Fingers.
with our influx in use, that
Mhm.
percent, like it always kind of gets masked in the percentage portion, which is why we're tracking what that actual baseline is. Because every summer we do kind of go, it's been looking like we've been going from the teens, and then we do kind of get down to 9%.
Yeah.
I think we got down to 8 or 7 maybe last year or the year before. So we do see that drop, but this one is definitely more significant than past years. So
Yeah.
we're hopeful, but we're not banking on it because we've been hopeful in the past and it wasn't as.
Just optimistic and are looking forward to seeing the results next month.
Yeah, because I think this is the lowest I've remember seeing.
This is
Yeah.
where it should generally be, kind of in that 5-6%. So we're like, ooh, we may have found something here,
Yeah.
but we're not going to say that too loud.
Hold us.
No.
We're trending in the right direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is what we have in Public Works. Do you guys have any questions? comments?
Everything's moving forward with Chick-fil-A.
It is. We actually, we had a little snafu last week at Chick-fil-A, and it really wasn't anything Chick-fil-A necessarily had done. We thought that they hit one of our water lines that goes, we have a main line that comes off of Wood Village Boulevard and kind of does a weird 90 in there and then 45 out and over to Lowe's. There was a lot of water spewing last week on a hot day, and the line actually separated. So they did repair that. We have chlorinated the line and all of that. But so there was that. But other than that, they are trucking along.
Well, it seems
So-
like it.
Yeah, they're progressing well. We also have in my weekly update, Buns, Burgers and Dogs has, finished everything on terms of building and permitting. They haven't picked those up yet. I think they're just trying to finalize all their stuff. So hopefully they're open soon. Fred Meyer is doing their grand reopening celebration gala this Friday, I think 9 a.m. I was in their store last week. I tend not to go to Fred Myers's when they're under construction because it confuses me. So being back after, I was like, oh, it's really nice. I think
nice.
the project was a good one. And, hearing they're shutting down Gateway, we received a full remodel. I mean, that's, I think, strengthened the store and what they believe it can do. So that's just really nice to have as a community benefit.
Sure is.
Somebody hit a metal post there by the gate on Hawthorne. Somebody in a big truck, because there were truck ruts and it's like half tipped over. So we just noticed it on Saturday. So
We will
yeah,
take a look.
it'd be a big truck.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Okay. Anything
it.
else? Thank you, Pat.
that's it.
Thanks for that report.
Yes. I'll just quickly say that park has been looking amazing on Mondays, so we appreciate that. The restrooms have been amazing and we appreciate those.
Yeah, so just, we are down a utility worker. We have a recruitment process going out now because much like your conversations, we did an interview process and let's go out again. And then we've had Robbie's out on extended leave. So we actually picked up some temp help, just again, focus on that front end, garbages, restrooms. So glad to hear that the park's been acceptable, given shortage on utility workers, trying to bring in some new people to help with grounds work. So especially during peak season, but I think it really shows the thoughtfulness of the new restroom being a little easier to, keep clean. We've thought about it differently. It's like, cool, there's spray your cleansers, hose it down. So glad, I think it's really resonating well with our park guests.
Oh, that's nice.
I am not Seth. There's a finance report in your packet. I know we're still waiting on all the final year-end stuff from fiscal year, so there'll be more of your September report that goes over how we did. I do know we did really well on some revenues. Our BIT came in nicely. Unlike Portland Metro proper, our Motel revenues were really strong, really positive. So there's a lot of good. And I know we underspent on our budget. So, and it's brand new in the fiscal year. So we're still good on those revenues and expenses, but Seth will have more details how we ended the fiscal year at your next meeting.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. And the city manager's report.
Well, the APP, the big one is fire. We gave an update on that. And I think, from where we're at with our partners, I think is probably the best spot we could be in trying to find a regional solution. And hopefully we can just keep that momentum and positivity moving forward. Obviously, there's going to be other things that pop up, considerations, et cetera. But at the moment, I'm going to enjoy this.
Yes.
Yeah.
As Erica said, we've done some manhole sealing through that process. Actually, we're going to see if our crew can do some. They seem to have the want and willingness to learn and try. So we want to, certainly track all of that. Obviously, the first couple might take a little longer. So
What
we're
was that? I missed.
manhole sealing. So it's basically, how you'd fix a crack in your foundation, kind of a very similar process. But our crew wants to give it a go, and we're willing to give that a shot. We're also evaluating where our sewer repair projects are going to be. I think maybe, I don't want to say fall time, but sometime we'll have probably something out for you for a bid award. For our street project, it's really looking like 239th. But again, that'll probably be for our next construction season, because we really want to, again, do some learning on it. We know there's some fail points. Does that mean can you grind that and recompact it? Is it big tear? Like, what does it need so we can scope it appropriately? So that's where we're at for our street project. That's pretty much our APP this year. It's fire and utilities. Do want to bring up something. So Kirsten's health journey has, been a journey. We are entering a new chapter in that journey. That's something we didn't want to have to do, but cancer does what cancer does. So I've worked with the management team. I've talked with the mayor. I'm going to be taking some more regular time off the next couple of months to just help through this next little chapter and what that may bring and mean and evolve to. So we already have our 980 schedule, so every other Friday I'm not here. I still do the weekly, and I'm still don't know how to get a hold of me. But if I'm working a Friday, I'll have the following Monday off. So every weekend, basically, I have a 3-day weekend. Some will just be Friday through Sunday, or then Saturday through Monday. At least most Wednesdays. I think there's a few in August that have some meetings, but it's a work from home day for me, just so I can be just a little more present as we're navigating some new challenges and just being there for her. So I do, thank the management team. You've always said, you just let us know what you need and we'll figure it out. So we've looked at the priorities as a team. Again, it's fire as a priority, utilities. So I think we're going to be well managed through this next period, and then come back and see where Kirsten's at, see where we're at and what's needed. So I just wanted to toss that out there in case there's any other questions or concerns or.
And then we'll also just take the moment to share that I've also mentioned to Greg that if we as a council, there's not an urgency to me that they go ahead and cancel and push everything to one meeting a month if we have to, or whatever staff needs in support wise, again, without, some dire need for us to meet. I don't think there'll be any pushback from us to have to meet. So just, providing some more wiggle room that they can kind of in some form inform us to say, hey, there's not enough for us to meet, or we can push everything to one or the first or the second meeting, and that we would all be okay for that. So
Absolutely. And
You do what you need to do. We love you.
if there's not, my opinion is, if there's not a timeline on something, don't create your own timeline that doesn't allow you flexibility, and make it as flexible. And if there's part of, you certainly, you can, don't be worrying about your APP. All right. So you just build, and I'm saying this to staff too, I mean, everybody, just don't create artificial timelines that we don't have to
Exactly.
do just because we did it last year at that day. Okay, that's, yeah, and you,
If it ain't burning down.
Well, and that's where I think for however it happened, we stacked a lot of projects this past kind of winter, spring. Let's not repeat that, which is why we're going to kind of talk about how we can maybe, okay, we got a road project. How to do it right, how to stage it. We got sewer work, how to phase that in. So we've really tried to learn from last year. They're great projects, they're good projects, and we're always busy. We also can, let's do ourselves some favors and plan that out. Set us up for
Absolutely.
success.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Exactly.
you got everybody's support.
I can't express how much I appreciate that because of all the things going on. What does work think isn't one of the things that keeps me up at night, because I know you just tell us what you need and we'll make it work. And I like to think I bring that to the staff area too, that we've had some staff members with, medical things and family things, like you take care of home. We'll save your work for you.
Yeah.
So when are you
Thank you,
meeting to ask for the grant?
It is next week.
I had a tip for you. Don't wear the tie. Wear a little shabbier clothes and rub a little dirt on your shoes. They feel sorry for people.
I got some holes in my shoes. So there. Ankle or something.
Just keep that in mind.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. Obviously, there's no attorney report.
But I do have a report from our attorney.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
It's the we had a call today. He's in Corvallis on a hearing and whatnot, but he did announce his retirement.
Uh-oh.
No.
Luckily, it's end of the year, so we have some time. I suggested, he asked, if you want to do a big RFP, I was like, well, there's no replacing Jeff. So I figured the best way to start is, who would Jeff recommend to replace Jeff? So he's going to talk around his firm about who may have capacity that fits with our council, and maybe have them start coming to some council meetings so you have some interaction, some engagement.
You can't wait till like after fire or something.
I was like, you've postponed it all this time, Jeff. What's another 2 years?
You know what?
Well, good
Robert
for him.
Street Clinic is closing. The clinic that I've gone to for 35 years, they are closing. The last doctor, my doctor, is retiring. What am I gonna do?
See, why are there all these selfish people in the world?
I mean, really, so many older people because
What?
but they're done. They were there for 50 years.
50 years.
50
Wow.
years.
So the whole clinic is buttoned
Clinic
up.
is- Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
So I gotta search a doctor out and that should be really easy.
Yes. But
Well,
that is.
So that's unfortunate here from Jeff, but
We'll have to throw him a little shindig. I mean, he's been with us since
Yeah.
1999.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well,
he's seen a lot.
in his firm, there might be somebody, that'd be the
Yeah.
best.
And that's nice. I mean, yes, he is our attorney. He's part of Miller Nash, and they have a great depth of different resources that we've used throughout the years. And we've even had substitute Jeffs at different meetings, and, they're all wonderful, quality people. So
Somebody can squeeze this in.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't demand a lot of time. Don't screw too many things up.
Not yet.
Yeah.
give it time.
Mayor council comments.
No,
None.
I think I said all I had to say.
Just quick, last week we were at Greg, Councilor Minor and I were at a Gresham homeless discussion with the county. It seems hopeful. We'll see kind of what comes out of it per se. potentially their next meeting of findings from these conversations will happen in August.
August 20th, I
August
think.
20th, and they had mentioned that they would come to it here. We'll see if that happens. But we are supportive of at least that meeting happening here, and hopefully some great discussion and some findings can come out of that.
Yeah, a lot of different perspectives and viewpoints and needs. And I mean, I think we haven't had that kind of conversation before. I think it would have been nice prior to the county buying Cook Plaza, but we are where we are. So let's make the best of it and move forward differently.
Two last quick things is, yes, Greg mentioned Fred Meyer's is having their grand reopening this Friday, so I will be present. Hopefully it's a great thing. I've been through the process because that's where we shop. And so it's good to see their expansion there. And then, Thursday, August 7th is Rec Night. It was formerly Friday Family Fun Night, but now it's going to be on a Thursday with the focus more on recreational opportunities for youth there. And so we'll still have free food, shaved ice, and we are hoping to still be able to do back to school items for the youth. So that'll be Thursday, August 7th from 6 to 8 here at our park. That was it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
All right. Okay, with anything else, we are adjourned. Thank you.
You know, every time I'm starting